Hello.
Hello.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You did
Good.
some redecorating, you said?
Yeah, did some decorating. Finally got my new panels up. Hopefully the sound's a bit better. And painted, got my Game Boy up as well. So yeah, it was busy, but we finally got there.
It's looking good. Did you do it all by yourself?
Yep. I even had to do a bit of
Oh.
electrics because I got like a plug socket down here. And it
Mm.
goes through the wood, so I had to cut the wood around the plug socket and mount it all. So now instead of a nice white one, I got this really cool matte black one to match it all. And then
Richard
it's got
Home Improvement Hooper.
yeah, and then around the
Very
window
nice.
because I've got like this massive window there, but it's a bit gloomy today. I got yellow around that as well, so it like in fact you might be able to see.
Oh, careful now. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
just
Very
move
nice.
back there.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's
Completely
getting
on
there.
brand.
Yes, yeah. I even
Very
painted the
nice.
ceiling.
What, yellow?
No, I wish. the color of the other walls.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just like a grey and a beige, just like grage. But yeah, it's
What? Grage?
it's like beige and grage together, a grey together. So that we call it like
Surely you just
grage.
can't mix those words and come up with a new word. That's not.
Yeah, it seems to work.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Um. So how's your week been?
It's been good. Yeah. What have I been doing? I've been working on one of my side projects in the evenings and that called KubeBuddy, which helps sort of scan your Kubernetes cluster, creates a nice HTML report. In material design, you can create a text report or you can load it in the CLI and it has like a menu and you can just go through it all and find information out about your cluster. Things like the state of your nodes, how many pod restarts. You can set this thresholds file, so you can have different thresholds for your different items. I've got some standard ones in there. Even gets all your kube events, warning events, so you can see what's going on, and it's all sorted in the right order. And that is, it's cool. It's been fun.
I was playing with this. We had it for the news later, but we can talk a little
Yeah.
bit about it now. I was playing with it yesterday, and
Yep.
it was like, all right, so give me some information, and it came back with, hey, you've got unused PVCs and that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool. It was like I just run it, I wait, and it basically gives me the 101 on the cluster I'm connected to, which is really helpful because normally you would do like I do K because I got the alias for kubectl, right?
Yeah.
But I do K, get ingress dash capital A and give me everything, or give me everything of that, give me everything of that. And sometimes I output it to YAML and just scroll through it. And now I've got a very, very easy to install solution because it's just install module, right?
Yeah, it's all PowerShell driven. Yep.
Yeah.
Love a bit of
It's in the
PowerShell.
PS Gallery I saw, which is
Yep.
great. I just install it, and within 5 minutes, within 90 seconds, I'd say, I was running it. Very good, very helpful, very helpful.
That's good.
And the report looks very, very, very
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah, I thought like a user, so I thought, what would I want? So I've got that. I've even started to work on the print to PDF functionality, so it auto expands all the tables, like even the rows as well, so it doesn't scroll, so it all fits in the nice page for you. And then once you cancel or print, and it all goes back to how it should be. So a bit of JavaScript in there and stuff. It's
It had a
fun learning
menu bar that
experience.
scrolls with you, and I can just
Yeah, it's like a floating menu bar.
Yeah.
It pops out from the side, and it matches the color. And then you got a little close button in that. That's a bit of JavaScript as well. So it's been fun
Do we
learning.
have a website or?
The website is coming, but I need to do all that. But you can find it on the KubeDeck GitHub, which is like github.com/KubeDeckIO, and then in there's the Git Buddy repo along with the other repos for KubeTidy, KubeSnapIt, and KubeDeck Launcher.
There we go.
Yeah, it's getting there. So if anyone does play with it, I'd love to hear some feedback of ways to improve it and stuff like that. I keep thinking about maybe adding in like a best practices scan, but yeah, that's a lot of work to keep up to date with the best practices. So I might do it if people think that'll be a good addition.
It'd be good.
Maybe also add some AI in at one point as well.
See, that'd be cool because you got like the little. So when you run it, by the way, if anyone wants to run it, it's I know we're on Spotify as well, but it's install module dash name cube body repository PS gallery scope current user, and it takes a couple of seconds and it's done. It has this really nice like text balloon.
Like little speech bubble kind of thing.
Yeah, speech bubble.
Coming out of a little robot emoji.
So that powered with AI, that'd be
I think that could be very helpful because it gives you in the CLI, it gives you little summaries as well. Like you've got 14 nodes not ready, and then some like tips and tricks to go and check what's going wrong.
You're gonna need some prompt engineering.
Yeah. It could be good. It could be fun to do. But I just want to get some feedback from people, see if it's a good tool and what they think, because people seem to love Kube Tidy. I've got like over 2,500 downloads or something like that at the moment. It's hard to measure with the crew ones, but yeah, and then Kube Snap It isn't doing as well as I thought it would do. But you know, Kube Tidy is doing really well. So just want to see if anyone likes this tool.
And for the people listening, people watching, Kube Tidy is designed to manage and clean up your kube config file. Because I mean, when you work with different Kubernetes clusters, things can get messy. You lose access. You don't need X anymore. Cluster doesn't exist anymore. And then whichever tooling you get, I'm also a big fan of something like Headlamp. It's a very, very nice solution. But then if you have stuff in your kube config file and it doesn't exist anymore, you get a bunch of API errors, or whichever other tooling you run, really. You get API errors, and it's very annoying. I mean, things like Kube Tidy, it will help you solve it. Very to the point. Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
Nice.
All right.
So how's your week been?
Yeah, I was going to say, we deviate a little bit from how your week been. My week's been working on some propositions at Intercept with you, actually. I think it just went live on the website, AKS Control.
Yes.
Very, very nice.
We're getting fixed, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very happy about that because we put in a lot of work.
Love the graphics that the marketing team built.
So. Yeah, that is props to the marketing team because they look good from when it started with the wireframe designs to what it's now. So it's very nice.
Yeah,
very nice. So I've been working on that. Been working on some cluster optimizations for customers, helping out some colleagues. Again, some Cert Manager, external DNS, looking into some GitOps to manage that.
Cert Manager. Talking of Cert Manager, in the news, remind me Cert Manager and I will share something.
I will add the banner as we speak. Cert Manager,
nice.
Add banner. There we go. So working on that, and also did some like node density checks this morning, requests and limits, some KRR.
Nice.
But more on that later as well because I've got some points up for discussion. But that's been my week. Oh, and this morning I got my tetanus shot because got a puppy and I get bitten left and right, and then Amy, my beloved wife, thought it'd be good to get a tetanus shot. So then people are thinking, why do you care? Because that's a thing for me. Because normally I pass out when I get a shot, but today was good. Last time I passed out was it was when I was texting with you. That's when I passed out. It's COVID shot. All right, we need to get started with the news. Where's the news? Where's the news? All right, here we go. All right, and today in the Cloud Native news, the KubeCon EU schedule is still live. And we're less than a month away.
Yeah, and do you know what I've noticed on some of the CNCF projects in GitHub? They've got a little banner up now with an announcement from the Cloud Native Compute Foundation saying it's your last month to register for KubeCon, Cloud Native Con in London. I've never seen that before. I thought it was really cool.
I there's some good marketing going on here, because other articles I read on more public or bigger websites like tech news and stuff, when it's about cloud native, they now have like a comment at the bottom, the same thing, like, hey, KubeCon EU and Cloud Native Con is happening very soon. So there's some very good marketing going on there, or cloud native is becoming even more popular than it already is.
Yes.
That could be something. And KubeCon itself is already pretty big, right? It's growing year over year, and it's a very popular event. Very popular.
Yeah, super looking forward to it. Hopefully you get to meet loads of people again, which is always good.
Yeah, and we're even going to meet up with some old friends, I heard.
Yeah,
that are coming to London as well. So
that'll be nice. And hopefully we get our Intercept branded hoodies or t-shirts, whatever it's going to be, and it'll be easier to spot.
Yeah, good point. I'm going to chase up on that. It's good. Good
Yeah.
you mentioned. All right. So what else do we have? Yeah. So I was reading an article, and this article highlighted a. Let me see. It highlighted a research.
Oh, is this the Cast AI one?
Yeah, the Cast AI research, where I find, and if I look at clusters across customers, I see this as well. I think one of the most recommendations we do for customers is, the node density, how many pods in a node, how efficient can you run it, more the FinOps and GreenOps side of things. Because, you've got, even though it's cloud native and we're saying it's designed and built for the cloud, sometimes it's an application that's just packaged and it's still like the micro monolith, and which is not a bad thing, right? But it can be optimized. There's like optimization to be done. And this research shows that they did research across more than 2,100 organizations. And they found, it's a lot. And they found that the average CPU utilization across Kubernetes clusters is 10% CPU utilization, 10%. And memory utilization, only 23%. That is
a lot lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to 100%, right? Because that's a problem. But what I see across customers as well is, all right, let's turn on auto scaling, and all right, you can have 40 pods on a node or whichever number you configure. If you're not doing requests and limits, and you're not taking measurements, and you're not checking periodically, this is what's going to happen. You're paying more than you have to, and that's it's also a lot of waste, right? It's not very green. But then you have different solutions, right? First things first, the recommendation is always turn on things like Prometheus, gather telemetry, and then one of our favorite tools by the people from Robusta.
Yep.
KRR.
Which stands for?
Kubernetes Resource Recommendation. I always forget, so I have it open here. I use it a lot.
I was going to say.
I even did a pull request for the CSV exporter.
You did, yeah.
Just KRR. It's written in Python.
Such a good tool.
Yeah. And we're now saying Prometheus, right? But it also supports different data sets or different solutions.
Yeah. Victoria Metrics, I think, is supported.
I've got on the list as Prometheus, Coralogics, Thanos, Mimir, and a bunch of other Victoria metrics. Yeah, got this as well. Lots of data integrations, even reporting integrations like Robusta itself, Slack, K9S. But what it does is it can tap into that data source, or you don't have to, right? If you just want to do it based on the current metrics, like now you can run it without, but it's best to tap into a data source.
Historical
so you can
metrics.
Just go back. Yeah. And that will give you, it does two things. It either, if there's no request and limits configured, like no resource configuration, the resources are not configured, it will give you recommendation. We recommend doing this, but if you already have them configured, it will go, so you've got this, but one CPU, maybe you can do with a half, or you can do with. So it will help you fine tune as well. So it's not just a one-time thing. It's something you want to do like maybe every 3 months. Just run it to inspect a little bit. And especially when
workloads can change, I guess, and
usage
can change as well. Yeah, new apps could come. Old apps could go. New features come in. Memory leaks might even happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you'll catch that before.
Or what do you know? Your sales team becomes very successful, and you get way more users than you anticipated, and you might need to do some right sizing.
Yeah.
But that is, yeah. So the cool thing is that we're doing research across so many companies because so many companies use Kubernetes and cloud native solutions, which is good. But now there's also a lot of waste that needs to be managed there. But I would also say that cloud native solutions and platforms running on Kubernetes are probably they are the best fit for being green and cost efficient because when you do virtual machines and application at some point, I mean memory overcommitting or all the other magic that you can do in the cloud, that's one thing. But doing it on a pod level and good management, overcommitting memory when you can, all that stuff, you can really fine tune it and get into the nitty gritty of it and be very green and good. So positive thing, if you're now running things like AKS or Kubernetes on a different cloud, you can probably save some money. Chances are very, very high that you can.
Yeah, definitely look at it. It's such a good tool. And they've actually got another tool which is open source as well called Holmes GPT, which can integrate into like Slack as well. And you can actually ask Slack about your cluster and it will go off and pull logs for you and stuff like that, which is quite nice.
I think that's integrated with their main product Robust as well, right?
It is
or
also
it spun off from
that.
that. It was built into there and then it spun up.
Yeah, so they're doing some really cool things in the scene. So I think there'll be a KubeCon. So if you are going to KubeCon, you can go and speak to them. And they used to have some really cool T-shirts as well. So yeah,
I've got a couple in the couple in the closet here, and also Nathan from Robusta. You can look him up. He also does really good sessions online and interviews and podcasts and that stuff. So
yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, very nice guy. Yeah. All right. Something else I wanted to discuss. Have you heard about this? Shadow
containers. I hadn't until 5 minutes before we went live, and it's such a cool term.
Well, we have shadow IT.
Yeah.
Right. It's when when other people in your organization, other people other than your IT department start installing stuff. And I mean, a good example of shadow IT was I used to say Dropbox. When you like OneDrive started at some point, we have OneDrive, and every organization said, all right, here's policies, and we only use OneDrive. And then, I mean, I love my Microsoft products, but in the beginning, OneDrive wasn't the best. It didn't always synchronize properly. So people got annoyed, and then we said, oh, you have to use OneDrive. And then, bam, people started doing Dropbox, and before you know it, your
Google Drive as well.
Yeah, Google Drive. Yeah. Before you know it, your precious company business secrets are out there in the Dropbox folder that you are not managing. So yeah, that's a problem. So shadow IT. But then I was reading like some cloud native security stuff, and the concept of shadow containers. And it's more or less, I mean, you can go about this multiple ways, right? But it's like, let's say you're doing very nice, you've got very nice manifest, you're doing Helm or whatever, you do deployments, and then you've got that one developer, you've got that one developer, it's like, I need to do some modifications. I'm going to deploy a new container, and I'll do that manually. Give me the cluster credentials. I've got the kube config, I do kubectl apply, or please no kubectl run. And something is running.
I mean, just a pod on its own, not even attached to a deployment or replica set.
And there it is. And before you know it, that little pod or container is either unknown to the rest of the team or something that the whole infrastructure depends on. So you cannot just delete it, but you don't know about it. It's not managed. So it's problem.
Forgotten. Yeah. The developer ran the command, forgot about it afterwards,
And that's the thing, right? Because then the developer forgets. And 6 months later, developer, a very successful person, decided to take up a challenge elsewhere, and nobody knows what that container was for. But then we're also afraid to bin it off because, what will break. But the problem is it's not managed, so that container image is not patched, it's not updated. And what would you say would be the best way to overcome that?
Don't give developers access to a cluster and just use
Okay.
GitOps or
GitOps,
pipelines. Yeah.
yeah, I think
Basically
GitOps is
restrict that access to that API as much as possible. But I just thought of another one as we were talking, debug containers.
Oh yes.
They never get cleaned up. I've seen so many of them. So
Do you always
maybe
clean them up?
no, which is why I know
I
they
forget.
never always get cleaned up.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to add that to KubeBuddy, I think, as a check.
You mean that? You could build a check
For
if there's an image with busy bugs or something.
yeah, I'm just gonna check if there's a debug container. I'm gonna figure out how first, if it can be done, if there's a unused debug containers hanging around. And yeah.
I'm just thinking about my
Thinking out loud now.
I'm thinking about the containers I deployed, install
Yeah.
things like nmap or I don't know,
Yeah.
CURL.
Oh yeah,
Things
good
like that.
times.
Yeah, I need to
Ubuntu just to test some network policies or something.
trace back some steps, I think, and see if there's a debug container running some. But then, yes, shadow containers. I think GitOps is the way to go about that. But then maybe, I mean, if you talk about something like KubeBuddy, what if you could detect that you are doing GitOps, or the cluster is managed through GitOps, or there's like GitOps operators like Flux or Argo, something is installed. Can you then detect pods running not managed by that GitOps flow?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's something we'll have to look into for sure.
Yeah,
That
and I
could be
think
quite good.
if you read the articles about shadow containers and cloud native security, it's more about you have a list of assets and the container is not, or that specific deployment is not noted. I mean, like you've got your SBOM and it's not in the SBOM, it's not documented as an asset, but that's still the documentation part. The actual implementation and technical checks, that's GitOps, and the more cloud native we do, the more containers we deploy, the more pods we run. That is definitely a good next step. Something
I
that we
think
should
so.
pay more attention to, and also a security concern.
Yep. Because what's that pod doing?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
Well, I know about my debugging pods, but
yeah. and also they're using resources they might not need to be using, like so think of the green ops again as well, the FinOps
overhead.
So yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Before we're on time, because I see that we're chatting a lot here today, which
yes,
is good.
and
I'm enjoying myself.
And we're without Karl as well.
Yeah. Sorry, Karl. Karl, when are you coming back, mate?
Yeah, hopefully soon. Work gets in the way too much. The pod is opening the doors. Yeah, potentially it could really be.
You just said cert manager. What do you want to talk about cert manager?
Right. So also earlier you mentioned headlamp. So how hard is it to manage cert manager and find out like if your certs are expiring and stuff like that? There's not a nice dashboard really for it. So Headlamp has created a plugin for cert manager, probably with the cert manager people. Yep. And it actually gives you all the information in Headlamp. So it's so much better now. So yeah, if you are using Headlamp, and you should be using Headlamp, check that out. And they also have one for Flux as well, talking about GitOps to help you actually see all your Flux stuff. They have one for OpenCost as well, and Compose. And they also have a plugin to help you change the logo in Headlamp, because it's very customizable. So you can actually put your own logo up there, and then internally it can be your Intercept Kubernetes management tool instead of Headlamp as a tool,
cool.
Which is really cool.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is headlamp.dev and the default theme. Yep. I mean, if you go to the website now and then you look at Rich's camera.
Yeah, I would never customize that logo unless I put the Pixel Robots one on there. But yeah, it's got like a totally adaptable UI and branding and everything, so you can actually package it up like with your company's branding and send it out to all of your engineers, and it's like your own tool, but it's a cloud native project.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really cool.
All right. I was thinking about when do you know when Cert Manager. I do a lot of Let's Encrypt certificates. So you've got in your cluster issue, you got the email address, you get an email, but I mean that's not the way to manage this. A dashboard would be very good.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to have some more insights on your certificates and when they expire, if they're managed through Cert Manager, headlamp.dev.
Yes, for sure.
Also, for a lot of other things you want to do in Kubernetes, Headlamp is a very, very good tool.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Yeah.
They've got a Slack channel in the Kubernetes Slack as well, so you can go there and chat to the devs, which is really good. They're very responsive as well.
Yeah. And also always present at KubeCons, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Vic's done quite a lot of times now, which is good.
Awesome. All right. We're already at almost 30 minutes, so
that's gone quick.
Bring this to an end. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
Good conversation. All right.
Nice.
Anything else you want to share before we say goodbye and call it a weekend?
The only other thing would be to all of the MVPs out there, don't forget the renewal needs to be done by the end of this month, so get it done now. Otherwise you might not be renewed. You probably won't be if you don't put the renewal in.
And of course, if you've been a good MVP, you've kept track of it and everything is already in there, like us. No, not me. No.
Yeah, not me.
Well, every time, I mean, I always hope I get renewed because it's amazing. But every year, I start with, I'm putting in this contribution, that one. So I do it for like 2 months.
And 2 months, that's more than me.
Well, it's summer holiday. It's like when you start a new habit and then summer holiday starts and you do nothing, and then you get back, and it's no longer a habit. You feel, and you have to sit down in March and track back everything you did.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But we should also say congratulations to all the new AWS community heroes as well, because they've just been awarded as well. So that's cool. We're not just about Azure here; it's cloud native, so that's all of them.
Yeah. And then we talked about that last week, the Cloud Native Ambassador updates that's now once a year instead of twice.
Yep. So that's in May, just for people to remember.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, everyone. And with that, I guess we should say goodbye and let everyone get on with their lunch, or if they're watching this on recording, probably had enough of us. So thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day. Have a nice weekend, and see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.